The following program is paid for by Main Street Living.
Hi, I'm Pastor Matthew Harrison, president of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Starting in the late 1950s, Lutheran Hour Ministries aired a television program called This is the Life in their efforts to bring Christ to the nations. It was a critically acclaimed show that used story and drama to convey eternal truths from God's Word. And it featured actors who were just getting started in their careers. Recently, Lutheran Hour Ministries, in partnership with Main Street Living, remastered and brought to HD quality about 50 of these programs. You may notice some young actors who've become very famous. And even though the props and styles are of the 1960s and 70s, the subject matter is still very relevant. So please sit back and enjoy this week's episode of This is the Life.
Tell anybody in this here shop what kind of a man Alistair Simpson is, what kind of work he does, what kind of a friend he is, especially what kind of friend he's been to me for these last 40 years. What I'm trying to say, Alistair, is that we all think that he's mighty high of you, and we wish you only good on your retirement. Mission. So Godspeed and bless you.
I'll miss you guys. Leaving you?
Got fishing rods now.
Alistair? What time is it?
Oh, it's the same time as it's been for the last 40 years.
Why don't you turn the light off and go back to sleep?
Because I'm not sleepy. My body's used to getting up at 5:45, whether I like it or not. I thought you were going back to sleep.
Well, I didn't think I'd get very much sleep with you crashing around out here.
I don't crash.
I'll do that, honey.
I can do it myself. I'm not completely senile yet.
Alistair.
Contrary to what some people seem to think.
Well, what's on the agenda for today?
Nothing's on the agenda for today. It's the same as nothing was on the agenda for yesterday or the day before that.
Look, why don't you go up to the lake today, huh?
I already caught enough fish to last us through 4 hard winters.
Hey, you were going to finish those cabinets for Chuck and Joyce.
I finished them on Friday.
You did? You didn't tell me.
You were busy at the daycare center all day long. By the time you finally dragged yourself home, it had completely slipped my mind.
Look, Alistair, sometimes at the center I have to invent things for cranky kids to do on rainy weekends, you know. Well, I don't want to take care of a cranky kid at home, too. I've got better things to do.
Ah, shoot, a lucky one.
Now, once upon a time, there was a little girl named Ellie. And Sally, that's you. Atta girl. She lived next door to a great big house that had 3 stories and lots of rooms and a pointy roof and a little old lady that used to tell Sally stories of long ago. Now, this little old lady didn't have a lot of money, but she was always cheerful. And she had a great big smile for every single person that used to pass by her big front window. Now, one day, along came a wicked landlord. There he is, see? And that wicked landlord scared them, and he chased them away. Doesn't that frighten you? No.
Oh, 12 o'clock. Light of day, serial. Jack receives disturbing news. The Young and the Proud, serial. Fiona regrets her decision to become a nun. Ellen gives Betty disturbing news. Movie, Spider-Woman in Nagasaki. Education, the romance of the yak.
Very guilty of a very cruel kind of exploitation. And I confess that to
The
God.
Young and the Proud, huh? How about the Old and the Bored? He
See, what
receives
difference?
disturbing news. Her husband died of excitement watching the romance of the yak. The Spider-Woman regrets her decision to become a nun.
I care about you. It is too easy to say that I just misunderstood.
So, when he found out that the little girl was willing to give up all the pennies she had saved to help her friend, the wicked landlord repented of his greed, and he cried many tears, and he asked the little old lady to forgive him. And then she and the little girl opened up all those closed rooms in the big house, and they invited Theo and Rodney and Mary Bell and all the other poor people to come and live there together. And the mean old landlord became the good landlord, and he took care of all of them. And you know, when people asked him later why he did that, he said, because one day a little girl was willing to offer me everything she had to keep an old lady in out of the cold. The end. Very, very good. You all did a wonderful job.
Hi!
That was marvelous.
Again?
I thought you were downtown.
Got back in time for the grand finale.
Oh.
Did you write that?
I made it up as I went along. Now, kids, I want you to put everything away because we're going to have lunch now. Well, time to go.
Oh, our illustrious city council is split. We've got Snyder and Burkhart pushing for us, but the mayor's getting signals that the federal money might not be as much as they thought. Hot angling for bucks at the moment.
Well, just have to do some more praying, I guess.
Oh, I almost forgot. How's it going back home?
Don't ask. All right, kids. Alistair, I'm home. Sweetheart, I'm back.
Now, you people, by the way,
What have you done to all my cupboards?
Oh, I just rearranged them. Didn't make any sense the way you had them. Everything was all higgledy-piggledy.
It was not higgledy-piggledy. Made perfectly good sense to me. I can't find a blessed thing now.
I just gave them some organization.
Well, if you're so anxious for projects... If you are so anxious for projects, why won't you come down to the center with me the way I've asked you to? A lot of those kids would just love to have you show them how to make things.
I didn't work with wood for 40 years in order to go down there and show a lot of kids who want to be home with their mothers how to make door stops.
Well, I haven't lived with you for 40 years in order to provide daycare for a 65-year-old child.
Driving you crazy, huh?
He follows me around like a little poodle dog or something. Tries to tell me how to do everything, work that I've been taking care of alone for years. Complains each time I leave him alone. I can't even do the marketing in peace. I know, I married him for better or for worse, but darn it all, not for lunch.
So,
So?
you do a lot of fishing?
Well, some.
What about them projects you was always talking about?
I got a couple of them done.
Well, then you're okay, huh?
Sure. No, I'm not okay. So, I'm used to having something to do, someplace to go, you know, some reason for getting up in the morning. I'd like to have my old lathe back, Mike. I've always done good work. I still can.
I know, Alistair.
But I'm as fit as ever. And my eyes, my hands are okay, right?
Yeah, I know.
I'm no different than I was 5 years ago. My work's no different.
Alistair, you know the company policy. Mandatory retirement at 65.
Oh, sure, I know the policy. It's probably written by some smart aleck of 30. And I'm not too old to work, Mike. I'm not too tired. Now, why should I be shoved out just because on June the 9th I happen to hit 65?
I'm on your side, but I can't do nothing about it. I'm just the foreman.
Mike, listen. All my life I've been proud of my work, of my craft. Now, maybe that don't mean much to a lot of people, but that job meant something to me, and I gave it my best. I did.
That you did.
Ever since I was first in the Union, I knew who I was. Alistair Simpson, lathe man. Now, I'm Alistair Simpson, nothing.
You got Edith.
Ah, she's busy down at that daycare center all day. I just get in her way.
Well, for 10 years, I've been trying to get you to come to the men's prayer breakfast at church.
But I can get my praying done on Sunday. I need something to do.
Praying is doing something.
No, you know what I mean. I mean something useful, Mike. I mean, you know, with my hands, something to do, something to make. I'm not flat on my back yet, Mike. There's a lot of good work left in me, if anybody cares about it.
Well, the way I figure it is, if the Lord keeps us around, He must have a reason for it. It's up to us to find out what it is. We can't sit around crying over what can't be.
Jasper, Union Rapid Shop 4 needs to talk to you.
I'm on it.
Right away.
Right. Alistair?
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm sorry I took up so much of your time. It's not your problem.
Not till a year from next June, anyway. No special favors for foreman. Bless you.
Now listen. I and you, we make you and me, and one more's
Three.
Add one more,
Is
and then there's four. Take away me, and that makes three. Very good. You did that beautifully.
Edith, we got it. Do you really believe it? 10,000 beautiful federal revenue sharing dollars.
Have you told the others?
No, just you.
Oh, don't you think you ought to?
Oh, all in good time. But first I have a little proposition for you. You know those 2 paid staff positions I wrote into the proposal?
Yeah.
One of them's for you, full time.
But.
But what?
Well, I haven't. Well, nobody's paid me for work for over 40 years.
Well, then it's time for a change.
Lord, what'll Alistair say?
No.
But it's a chance to bring in $250 a month.
We don't need the money. With my pension, my Social Security, there's plenty.
Well, it's work that I like, and it's something I'm good at.
Well, I told you no. No wife of mine's gonna go out acting like some kind of a liver at 60.
Well, what do you expect me to do with my spare time? Sit around the house like you do, practicing transcendental vegetation?
What I think you should do is to mind your business. Stay home and take care of your husband like it says in the Bible women's supposed to do. That whole gallivanting around. Could be making some kind of a fool out of yourself.
I don't think there's anything foolish about trying to help other people. Little children, one of the most Christian things a person can do.
Why don't you admit it? You want the whole world to know that now you're keeping me.
Alistair, that has nothing to do with it.
Ever since I retired, stop bringing home that paycheck. You've been acting like I'm some kind of a nuisance in your house.
It's our house.
Well, I said no, and I mean it.
I'm not a child. I can make my own decisions.
All right, Miss Independence, you go right ahead and make your own decision. But I just want you to know this. That if you decide to take that job, either you stay home and act like a wife, or you decide to take that job and I move out. That's your decision.
Alistair. I love you. You know that. I don't want you doing anything crazy, like moving out.
That's better.
But I'm a person, too. And I'm not going to let you blackmail me. I'm not. I think I ought to take that job. I want to. Alistair! Well, whoever said there's no fool like an old fool sure knew what he was talking about. I spent all last night awake, waiting for him to come back, worrying if he was all right. And then this morning he calls me up and says that he's already got a room. Some flop house downtown.
You did the right thing. You know you did.
Maybe. Well, that doesn't bring him back.
He'll be home in a few days. Come on.
I don't know. I never would have thought he'd take off like this in the first place. Never. Not after all these years. Funny. You live with somebody for such a long time, and then you find out that you don't really know him at all.
Yep. I walked out on a woman myself once. 1951, I think it was. Maybe 52. Oh, the year they had them terrible rains. Yeah, darn foolish thing I ever done. Yeah, I figured I'd let her stew for a while, you know. Get to really missing me. And then, having made my point, I'd get a nice homecoming. But the little lady got the best of me. She run off with a riveter. Lived with some people down the block. Took everything there was. Except the bills. Yeah, a man might think that he's the only fish in the sea. But there's always all kinds of boys around looking to provide lonely ladies with male companionship.
Well, my Edith's not about to do what yours done.
That's what they all say. But you gotta remember that she's used to having male attention for how long?
40 years.
Oh, that long. It kind of gets to be a habit with them, you know. Like tobacco.
It was too late. And I give that woman 2 days on her own, and it was too late. I can't say that I blame her. I haven't brought her any presents, not for years anyway. And wear my hair slicked back like that. Maybe she's better off with him.
Alistair, now you listen to me. I don't give a rip if I live or die. You hear what I'm saying to you? I'm drunk.
Work was all I ever had. Work and a good woman. Now, I've lost them both.
Alistair, now you tell me, am I drunk or am I drunk?
You're drunk.
Thank you.
Well, I lost them both. Lost them both.
Alistair,
Good. What?
what are you doing here? What's the matter?
I must have... Oh, God, I got a headache. Oh.
Let's get into the office. Come on.
So that's the whole story. I not only lost my job, I managed to lose Edith, too.
Did she tell you that?
I know what I saw.
Well, I think maybe you better talk to her before you start deciding what she's up to. I don't figure Edith to be that kind of a woman.
No, I got nothing to live for, Mike. I'm no use to anybody. Least of all to myself. All I got left is a lot of time on my hands.
I'd say that was a lot. Especially if you use some of that time spreading the Lord around to people who needs him. Now, if you know the Lord, you know the only way to feel good about this life that he's given us, whether it's just beginning or whether it's almost over, is to quit trying to find happiness, satisfying yourself. If you're a Christian, you've got to think about how God can use you. Now, Alistair, that's it. You do for God, and you won't have to hunt for happiness. It'll find you. Now, that's the gospel truth for everybody, young and old alike. And that's another thing, Alistair. You're always going around thinking you're nothing because you're not working in that shop no more. Standing up in front of a lathe don't make a man important. Alistair, we're two men that God himself stepped down from his heavens to make. It seems to me that makes us something special. And if that wasn't enough, he took the trouble to send his only son down here to die for us, to save us, to make us new people. Alistair, we're something. We gotta be something. If God sent his only son to save us, then we gotta be something. Alistair, you look at that cross up front at church next Sunday, and then you tell me you're not something. God's something.
I guess... I thought maybe everything's going to be different after I turn 65. Guess I never thought that maybe God had something for me to do for him. Guess there's a lot I never really thought about.
You think about it.
You know how strong the wind is sometimes. It can take the kite right out of your hands if you're not too careful. So, we're going to make this very, very strong in here so that it doesn't come apart when the wind grabs it. Does everybody see what I'm doing here? Yeah. Good. Okay. How many of you has ever flown a kite? Oh, look at all of, what is it? Alistair. Oh, Ellen, would you take over for just a minute? Oh, Alistair. Let's go outside.
Yeah. I guess you were right when you said that there's no fool like an old fool.
Maybe. But there's something else that's just as true. There's no love like an old love. Oh, Lord. You had me so worried.
I'm sorry. I had to come over sooner, you know, but... Well, when I saw you with that fella at the house last night, why...
What fella?
But I'm not condemning you now. It's all right. I mean...
Well, I don't know what you mean.
But... Was that fella that you had over at the house last night?
What fella did I... You don't mean Mr. Pritchett.
Well, I don't know what his name was, but... you know, you had him over at the house.
I did not have him over. He brought me some sleeping pills from his pharmacy that Dr. Huntley prescribed because I was so worried about you I couldn't sleep.
That's what it was? I thought that...
Alistair James Simpson, I am a Christian woman.
I'm sorry. But after all, I walked out on you and all that, and you're an attractive woman. And...
You think that? Still?
Think what?
Well, that I'm attractive.
More than ever.
Mrs. Simpson, I can't get the middle part to stay on. Ellen said that you would show me how.
Yes, all right, Robbie, you go on back inside, and I'll be right in. Go on now. We are making kites.
Kites? Oh, you never in your life made a kite that could fly.
I know that. You were always the kite expert.
Come on.
Oh.
Hi, kids. My name's Alistair, and I'm going to show you how to build a kite that'll go all the way up to the sky.
This is the Life and Pattern for Living are brought to you by the International Lutheran Laymen's League in cooperation with the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. This program is presented by this station as a service to the religious life of the community. These films available for church, school, and community use. Write Lutheran Television, St. Louis, Missouri, 63139.
I hope you found this program to be both entertaining and insightful. Even though the show was filmed decades ago, the concerns of those days seem to parallel many situations of today. We'll be back next week with another episode of This is the Life. In the meantime, I invite you to seek further wisdom from God's Word, the Bible, and I invite you to visit one of our congregations in your area. We are the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and you will find our 6,000 congregations listed at www.lcms.org. This program has been brought to you by Main Street Living, which relies on the generosity of viewers to support this programming. They appreciate your prayers and would also appreciate your financial support. You can view additional episodes of This is the Life on the Main Street Living website. Thanks for watching. And join us again next week, same time, same channel, for another episode of This is the Life.